Ever wondered how modern Great Britain came to be, its rich history and diverse culture? Our journey begins with the mysteries of ancient Britain, a time shrouded in the mists of prehistory. This era, marked by the construction of enigmatic monuments and the rise of distinctive tribes, set the stage for the island nation we know today. Picture, if you will, the vast landscapes of Britain, untouched by modernity. The first significant mark of human civilization appears in the form of Stonehenge. This iconic monument, built more than 4,000 years ago, stands as a testament to the engineering prowess and spiritual beliefs of the Neolithic people. These early inhabitants left behind not just Stonehenge, but a rich tapestry of megalithic monuments that pepper the British landscape, their purpose and meaning sparking endless debate and fascination. From these early beginnings, the narrative of Britain's history moved forward into the Iron Age, a time defined by the emergence of the Celts. The Celtic tribes, known for their distinctive art, complex social structures and fierce warriors, became the dominant culture across the British Isles. Their influence is still felt today in areas like Cornwall, Wales and Scotland, where Celtic languages and traditions continue to thrive. However, this period was not just about war and conquest. The Celts were also skilled farmers, traders and craftsmen. They built hill forts, traded with the continent, and developed a rich oral tradition, all of which added layers of complexity to their society. This age of relative peace and prosperity, however, would not last. As the centuries rolled on, the shores of Britain attracted the attention of powerful empires from across the sea, forever changing the course of its history. So, the ancient Britons laid the foundation of what was to come, a history marked by invasions, conquests, and eventually, an empire. As we delve deeper into this captivating saga, we will uncover how these ancient beginnings shaped the Britain we know today. But for now, we leave the ancient Britons, standing on the precipice of a new era, their legacy echoing through the ages. As we move forward in history, we encounter the mighty Romans, who left a lasting imprint on this land. Around 55 BC, Julius Caesar led the first Roman invasion of Britain. However, it wasn't until nearly 100 years later, under the rule of Emperor Claudius, that the Romans truly began to leave their mark. They brought with them the prowess of Roman engineering, constructing roads, walls, and aqueducts. Roman villas and public baths started to dot the landscape, and Latin, the language of the Romans, was spoken widely. The Romans also introduced their unique system of law and governance, which laid the foundation for Britain's future administrative systems. They built towns and cities, many of which still exist today, such as London, York, and Bath. But Roman Britain was more than just infrastructure and governance. It was a melting pot of cultures, where the indigenous Celtic traditions intertwined with Roman customs and beliefs. However, by the late 4th century AD, the Roman Empire was in decline, and by 410 AD, the last Roman legions had withdrawn from Britain. The once bustling Roman cities were slowly abandoned, and the intricate network of Roman roads fell into disrepair. This period marked the beginning of the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages, a term coined by historians to describe the period of cultural and economic decline following the fall of the Roman Empire, was anything but dark. It saw the invasion of the Anglo-Saxons, a Germanic people who brought with them their own language, customs, and pagan beliefs. These new settlers gradually replaced the Roman ways of life, and the Latin language was slowly forgotten. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms established during this time laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the nation of England. This period also saw the spread of Christianity, which would play a significant role in shaping the culture and history of Britain. With the fall of Rome, Britain entered a period of turmoil and cultural blending, setting the stage for the Middle Ages. From the ashes of the Dark Ages rose the kingdom we now know as England. A realm of kings and knights, the Middle Ages marked a transformative period in the island's history, shaping the identity of what would become Great Britain. The unification of England is a tale of tenacity, resilience and strategic brilliance, with a leading player named Alfred the Great. Crowned King of Wessex in 871, Alfred was the first to style himself as King of the English. His reign was a beacon of hope amidst the Viking invasions, and under his rule the English kingdoms gradually unified, setting the stone for a united England. But the tranquility of a united kingdom was short-lived. In 1066, the Norman conquest catapulted England into a new era. William the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy, claimed the English throne, reshaping the country's culture, governance, and language. The impact of the Normans is still evident today, from the castles that dot the English landscape to the French-infused English language. The Middle Ages was not just about kings and conquests, it was also a time of significant societal change. One pivotal event was the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215. This great charter was a peace treaty between King John and his rebellious barons, but it became so much more. It laid the foundation for constitutional law, establishing the principle that everyone, including the king, was subject to the law. The Middle Ages also witnessed a series of brutal conflicts, none more so than the 100 Years' War. Stretching from 1337 to 1453, this prolonged struggle between England and France over succession to the French throne had profound effects, not least of which was the emergence of a distinct English national identity. The Middle Ages, a time of kings and knights, forever shaped the identity of Britain. From the unification under Alfred the Great to the ripple effects of the Norman conquest, from the signing of the Magna Carta to the 100 Years' War, this period etched deep grooves in the nation's history, grooves that continue to define Britain to this day. Imagine a small island nation ruling over 1/4 of the world's population. This was no flight of fantasy, but the reality of the British Empire in its heyday. Our journey takes us now to the Tudor period, an era of exploration, reformation, and the birth of the British Empire. The reign of the Tudors catalyzed a transformation from a kingdom to an empire. This was a time when the monarchs like Henry VIII and Elizabeth I left a profound impact on Britain's cultural, political, and religious life. Henry's quest for a male heir led to the Reformation, a religious upheaval that saw the creation of the Church of England. Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, reigned over an era of prosperity and cultural renaissance. But the Tudors weren't just about roughs, religious strife, and royal drama. Their reign was also characterized by an insatiable thirst for exploration. It was during this time that figures like Sir Walter Raleigh and Sir Francis Drake began to sail the uncharted waters of the New World, marking the beginning of British colonization and the first seeds of the empire. Fast forward to the 17th century, and we're in the midst of the English Civil War, a brutal conflict that saw the monarchy temporarily overthrown, only to be restored a decade later. This turbulent time paved the way for the Glorious Revolution, which established a constitutional monarchy and set Britain on a course towards parliamentary democracy. As we move into the 18th and 19th centuries, we see the British Empire expand its reach around the globe. From India to the Caribbean, Africa to the Pacific, the influence of Britain was felt far and wide. This was an era of unprecedented growth and power for Britain, but it was also a time of conflict, oppression, and exploitation. The sun never set on the British Empire, but as we all know, all empires have their sunset. Even as Britain's influence spread across the globe, the seeds of future challenges and eventual decline were being sown, setting the stage for the next chapter in this fascinating tale. In the wake of the empire's decline, a new Britain emerged in the 20th century. A Britain that would face the horrors of 2 world wars, endure the hardships of decolonization, and navigate the complexities of modern politics. World War I, the Great War as it was called, was a brutal conflict that changed Britain forever. The trenches of the Western Front consumed a generation of young men, and the home front was forever altered by the mobilization of women in the workforce. Then came World War II, a global conflict that saw Britain standing alone against the might of Nazi Germany during the darkest days of the Blitz. Yet Britain persevered, and with the help of her allies, triumphed over the forces of fascism. In the post-war era, Britain undertook the challenging process of decolonization. The sun finally set on the British Empire as nations across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean gained independence. This was a time of significant change, as Britain had to redefine its place in the world. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have been marked by further transformations. The most significant of these is arguably Brexit, the decision to leave the European Union, a move that sparked intense debate and continues to shape Britain's global role. Summing up our journey, we've explored the ancient mysteries of Britain, the Roman influence, the birth of England in the Middle Ages, the rise and fall of the British Empire, and the challenges of modern Britain. We've seen how this small island nation has been a major actor on the world stage, influencing global politics, culture, science, and more. From ancient tribes to a global empire and a modern democracy, the history of Britain is as diverse as it is fascinating. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey.